Hello, everybody. This is Trayvon Control Coker with my co-host Armand Azarian here for the Post-Fight Podcast, Episode 5. So first things first, uh, make sure to follow our social medias down in the description below. And because next week's card is so bad, we'll be doing like a Q&A, question and answering portion. So send things to our social medias, email us, whatever you can do, because we're not going to be covering that card. Not seriously at the very least. So so please just send something. Be like, where do you guys like to get your haircut? Something, please.
Nowhere.
Because that card is it's just two prelim cards stacked on top of each other. But getting into that, we'll get into our UFC 250 recap, which was a fun night of fights, some good stuff, some bad stuff. Overall, pretty solid. So we'll get into our Felicia Spencer and Amanda Nunes analysis. So I guess I'll start here. Or unless you want to start, Armand. Do you want to start?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So, like I said last week, this fight was just kind of like placeholder fight. Like it was just 25 minutes of just looking at somebody slowly beat the hell out of somebody. It was just, I don't know. I didn't really take anything from it. I couldn't really say anything. Like I knew the fight was immediately over as soon as Amanda hip tossed Felicia in the first round.
Right.
And Felicia had like nothing on the ground for her.
Right.
And then like just after that moment, I was just really hoping for a finish. That way the fight would be over. But progressively just started getting worse and worse. And another reason for why corner stoppers are important, because she got sent out there in the last round for no reason at all. And it was just like I say, unfortunately for the main event of the evening, this fight was really just there to be there.
I totally agree with you, man. And just the first thing I would like to introduce with is just to go ahead and kind of outright state that excuse me, this division is, as this fight was, just there to be there. And I'm not entirely sure, as I briefly mentioned in the last episode, what the UFC's angle is here, right? Like they invented the division, or not invented, they created the division essentially for Chris Cyborg, who I guess found herself replaced by Amanda Nunes. I know Amanda Nunes is like the new reason they have it, but I don't think it, I don't know. Technically speaking, she's the only two division champion who's defending both belts, but I'm not too certain that it would reduce her stock should they eliminate the 145 female division, because there's no one to fight it.
Yeah, and and it really annoys me when they when they kept on saying like she's cleaned out two divisions. Like featherweight isn't the division. Like she's fought like 2 times there.
Yeah.
Like how do you clean a division out fighting 2 times there?
Her win over Chris Cyborg was legitimate, because that's like
yes, absolutely.
And then Jemaine ran to me. That was.
I think that was a 35. I could.
I think it was. You're right. I mean, she's obviously just there to be there, but like getting back to the fight, there's only so much to say technically about this fight, except I think the premise is it's pretty straightforward as far as Amanda Nunes' strengths as a WMMA fighter are concerned. Technically speaking, she has like a good one too. It's like jab overhand, good inside leg kick. She has some pretty cool looking takedowns, especially against these weaker women. And she hits like a truck. She's a legitimate BJJ black belt. Like you can see, she has skills on the ground there. And now she hits her hair.
Yeah, she just has baseline skill everywhere, like solid baseline skill everywhere, and then supplement that with like insane power and athleticism for the division, for both divisions. Well, featherweight isn't a division, but supplement that with a lot of power, and she's like borderline unbeatable,
right?
Like until she like gets out of her prime.
I agree.
Gets old.
And I don't think she was like. She looked pretty fucked up, by the end of round 4. It wasn't like as brutal or dire as the Ferguson or Teixeira Smith fights, but it's a woman who's clearly defenseless, has no chance of winning, and it should just be stopped on the basis of that. Like if I'm in the corner, I'm like, yeah.
And speaking of the corner, man, like I've heard some horrific advice from the corners before.
Yeah.
But I honestly do not know what they were talking. They were talking about like throwing flying elbows and jumping side kicks and stuff. And it's like,
what?
That was my reaction. I was utterly flabbergasted. I was perplexed. of of of, of their advice. I was just like,
And they kept saying the game
like
plan's the same. The game plan hasn't changed. Same game plan. I'm like, are you watching this fight?
what
What? It's not worked ever.
what was the game plan? I don't know, man. It just like I say, I was just utterly bamboozled of about their corner advice. It was non-existent basically.
I agree. I don't know. I don't know what to do with the division, and honestly, my knowledge on that division is not deep enough for me to make any like diagnoses. So,
Mine is yeah, me either.
so let's just move on to the next fight. Oh, Trayvon, I know your heart broke. I know your heart broke.
It was a little sad.
A Sun Out Cody. Let's give it to him. Let's hear it.
Like okay, first things first. I'm gonna just go over the basics of both fighters of what I've seen. Cody looked reasonable. You know what I mean? He looked like how I expect him to fight all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't stupidly reckless like how he's been before.
Mm-hmm.
He still inherently has a little bit of spots in this game that can be exploited.
Yeah, of course.
But he's still extraordinarily fast and hits extraordinarily hard.
Mm-hmm.
And if you give him opportunities to counter, man, it's gonna be
a tough night.
It's gonna be tough. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough night, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're gonna have to either get him to expose himself so you can counter him, or create exchanges where his form can break down.
Right.
But if you give him room to sit back and hit you with shots, or if he can lead for free, then you're gonna have yourself a tough night. And with the Sun Sao, like I say, I was sad him getting dropped like that. I was like, I'm gonna almost cry. You know, I was like, damn. But he looked a little, like I said, he looked a little old. He looked a little slow. He didn't fight how I've seen him accustomed to fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty much just him having a problem with people. Not people, with Cody being so fast and so quick, and him being so. I think he's darn near the end of his career right now. He's had 3 losses in a row.
This one was really bad.
Yeah, obviously this one was really, really bad. He didn't look terrible, but he didn't look to his form. Like in the second round, the action started to pick up, and he started to force exchanges that were better for him. But even in those exchanges that were better for him, he was taking hard shots.
Yeah,
he got knocked down with that overhand like behind his head, and he just looked a step behind Cody in the fight.
I agree, man. It was really sad to watch, and you know, I think those leg kicks also did a number on him, right? Like they made him hesitant to move in. He was a lot smaller than Cody, so he looked like he had a harder time getting in. And that he had like this idea that he was going to counter over the top of the right hand. You know, when Cody would throw, I think he landed like one good one, and he was was beat to the punch. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't fast enough.
Like, and I think a lot of the things that like Cody did that I like was that he was just using more of offensive kicker, like. Because a lot of times he would just concede kicking range and just let people kick at him. Like people didn't kick at him much, but whenever people did, he just kind of didn't do anything about it. Mm-hmm. But him just being active at kicking range made things a little easier for him. So it didn't allow a Santa who looked to kick to have free range to kick and be able to use that kicks to set up his punching range and punching combinations.
Right.
Which helped Cody out a lot. I think that I didn't really like from the Sun South. He barely jabbed me. He didn't use his lead hand much at all.
That's fair.
He was really inactive with it. And if he was a more active with it, he could have done to me. He could have fought a much more cohesive fight and done better overall. Like a lot of his work, like I say again, it was to me it looked like he tried to counter Cody with right hands. And
yeah, exactly.
Obviously, I understand why. Yeah. But like I know Cody might not be like it seemed like the smartest IQ guy in the UFC, but you just can't show such a easy tell for somebody with be honest with you with the skill set of Cody. Cody knows how to defend these shots. Cody knows how to navigate these areas. So like
he's also been training with Mark Henry, who, you know, and he's lost in like blatant fashion the same punch, like in 3 really devastating fights in a row. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'd imagine it's something that, because Mark Henry's a pretty detail-oriented coach as far as everyone's accounts are concerned. Like, I'd imagine it's something that he's been working on, is fully aware of. You know what I'm saying? Like, DC being, how many, like, I watched the Rumble fights over, and he got hit in the head, dipping down with a head kick so many times. Like, he's probably aware of it, and, you know, might have tried to adapt to it to some degree. Like,
he was aware of it, because he talked about it in 2014 when before the first John Jones.
No, I didn't mean DC. I meant Cody. Like he, you know, at this point, he knows that people think, you know, he's getting into hooking exchanges with him is going to result in him exposing his chin to a right hook. You know what I'm saying? Like it has in his past 3 fights when he gets into these firefights. And, he didn't open himself up to those exchanges. And I think, like you said, keeping it at kicking range and being an offensive kicker did help with that. And he also used feints pretty well, or this like jerky thing he would do. And I thought he accounted for himself pretty well.
Yeah, no, Cody fought like how I like to see him fight all the time.
Yeah,
because if he fights like that all the time, he has a good place in his division. I'm not sure I'll consider him to be championship level. But he's a good fighter. He's gonna have some darn fun fights. He's gonna knock people the hell out in spaces.
Yeah.
So
you know what fight I want to see for him next?
Who?
I would like to see him fight Corey Sandhagen.
That's a reasonable fight. I want to see him fight Marias, in my opinion.
That's a good fight.
That's a banger. I want to see him fight Marias. But no, yeah, like I said, Cody looked good, and the knockout, like, again, like I said, because to me it was an exaggeration of the whole fight. So Cody is making such a hard, over exaggerated dip into his right hand. Like looking at a Sun Tzu, he was following his head. Like if you look at his eyes, he was like tracking Cody's head.
Yeah, and he was trying to throw.
Yeah, and I guess, see, obviously this is just assumptions. In my opinion, when a Sun Tzu saw Cody make a reaction and dip, I'm assuming he was thinking that Cody was going to try to burst off the cage and he would have an easy right hand counter as he did that. But Cody kind of stayed on the cage in a way, and again, like say that dip allowed Sun Tzu's hook to travel really low and kind of in a bad trajectory.
Bring his hands down.
And exactly. And he got him deaded for it, which is sad.
It really was. And good on Cody, man. It's good to see him get in there. I'm really sad for Sun Tzu. He has kind of a sad career, to be honest with you. Like,
dude, man,
as far as not getting the opportunities that I think he deserved for a while. It's very Jacare-esque.
Exactly.
It's very Jacare-esque.
Exactly. Like I said before, like championships and title contenders and all those things are really a product of matchmaking or just opportunity sometimes. Like I say, a Sun Tzu, good chance he would have beat Cody a few years before for the title and won it. Good chance he would have beat TJ a little bit before and won the title then before he got hurt and all that. Yeah. Before Sun Tzu got hurt.
There's when he was a younger man.
Exactly, There's a chance he would have beat Cruz for the title. Okay, I probably wouldn't pick him against that, but he could have fought Cruz for the title and probably won that in 2016 around that time. But like just circumstances and all that make things difficult for people.
UFC politics and shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Like say, not all champions are created equal. Like some people don't even get title shots who are championship level contenders. Like I say, Sun Tzu is going to be a guy, unfortunately, whose career is going to be looked at as like fodder for the other guys. Like Cody, I'm like, oh, that was Cody's bounce back fight against TJ. Oh, that was the guy TJ had to triumph over to get his title shots and all that. You know what I mean? Marias, that was his breakthrough fight. You know what I mean? Like that's what a Sun Tzu's career is going to be looked like when he was a championship level fighter, when in his prime.
For a while,
a great fighter. Exactly, a great fighter.
But like it's always like the hardcore fans, if you want to call them that, are like going to be in the know. But it's kind of sad, you know what I mean? Because like I think he broke down crying, or like not broke down crying, but he let tears escape his eyes like during a post-fight interview in his most recent win, where he was like, I've been fighting for a long time. Like, I've been winning for a long time. Like, I won a title shot. And then, like, they kept giving him good fighters until he lost. Exactly. It's really, I hate that. They keep feeding a good guy who deserves a title shot, like top contenders, until eventually someone beats him.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Eventually someone's going to beat him, exactly.
Because, like, in stacked divisions, there's always going to be, like, a matchup that's bad for you. Like, at any given moment, a 135er in the top 5 can beat another 135 in the top 5. At any given moment, someone might come up and beat someone in the top 10. A lightweight may have the perfect style to beat Habib. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that should be. You get my point, right? Like, in stacked divisions, this is the nature of the system.
Exactly.
They're like, keep taking them.
Fed him the best guys possible, man. Like without giving him a title shot. They said, "Oh, TJ, you gotta fight him again. Marias, fight him." You know what I mean? Or especially what they'll do is they'll either give you like the best of the best, or they'll give you like fringe top 10 guys. Like for as much as like Rob Font and Matthew Lopez, they're not title shot worthy wins. You know, well for Sun Tzu they should be because he has such a good win streak and all that.
Right.
But like Rob Font, a really good fighter, super good. But beating him is not going to get you a title shot.
No.
Matthew Lopez, beating him is not going to get you a title shot. You know, So like they'll be like, okay, dang, okay, he beat Marlon Moraes, dang, that wasn't part of the plan. They just put him in there with Rob
guy.
Font. You know what I mean?
Anyway, we should move on to the next fight. I do want to say
The main event, baby.
Yeah. Oh man, this was such a good fight. Can I start?
Yes, absolutely.
Because I was so excited about this. Like Aljamain I was like so like when I watched this, like I said, I expected it to be. I got my prediction wrong. The path to victory, I agree with Trayvon for Aljamain was to punch into takedowns attempts and get it to the floor, but I didn't think that would happen. I thought Sandhagen was going to be on the outside. It's a smaller cage, so he probably he got him to the fence really quickly, but maybe it would have taken him longer in a larger one, but. Man, he comes out, he threw a leg kick. They're kind of having kicking exchanges. Aljamain rushes out in a really low, like the low stance he'll kind of have to like take the center of the cage and immediately like shoots. He has a high underhook with his right arm, and Sandhagen's using a wizard to defend. And then he kind of bundles him over. Sandhagen has like the position McGregor was in against Habib in round 4 before Habib got his back and then spun backwards and McGregor grabbed the cage. He was against the fence with the wizard, gave it up to build a base and tripod up or quad pod up. And then Aljo jumped on his back, pulled him down, got the finish eventually. But to me, this was extremely impressive from Aljamain Sterling. And also, this just occurred to me, I was going over some mistakes that Corey Sandhagen made in this on the ground or in the moment grappling exchanges occurred that I don't want to say cost him the fight because the finish, there weren't like a whole lot of mistakes. It just looked like Aljamain was dominating the positions, even though Corey was making reasonable attempts at defense at that point. But like the first thing is like, okay, so Aljamain jumps onto his back, right? And is now working for the seatbelt or some kind of a top lock position. So in my opinion, the priority at that point has to be stop trying to fight the legs, right? And work on defending the neck, especially against someone who's going to look without sweat to strangle you immediately. You know what I'm saying? And so you can see that Aljamain gets the lock up on the neck and Sandhagen's playing catch up, right? Like he's reaching up afterward because he's still trying to fight the legs. And then a couple times in this fight, once he got to the ground, Sandhagen's able to. I think he prized the choke off the neck, and he posts up with the right arm and then or left arm, I guess, and then like sits up to try because it's a body triangle, right? And so he tries to pry the cinching leg, right, open and release the instep from the knee pit of Aljamain Sterling. So here's a body triangle, and these are legs. Like Sandhagen sits up because he clears the arms, and he tries to like pull this apart. So I guess he can free the leg and get out. He did it twice. So the first time it happened, it didn't work because Aljo pulled him back down. But the second time, he cleared the seatbelt. He cleared the upper body control, right? And he sits up like when I thought that was such a mistake, right? Like you've cleared the body control. I think you should probably try and work to like scoot to your back or roll over or something like that. But I thought that was such a mistake. And I think now that I think about it, it might have been a result of Aljamain Sterling just putting a pace and pressure on him, and so he couldn't mentally keep up. You know what I'm saying? Like it took him by surprise that he got there so quickly or something like that. Like the pressure overwhelmed him.
Yes, and I think this is a point to emphasize about like philosophies of grappling when it comes to like opponents. Like Sandhagen to me seems like a super scramble heavy, like not lockdown position type grappler.
Sure.
So like if you watch his fights, a lot of his like ground and pound work, he like stands over top of you and pounds you from like headquarters or like a standing half guard type of position.
Yeah.
And then he can flow from there. And if in like all of his like if you watch his Batista fight, he transitions from like a Kimura trap into an armbar, which is really cool. But like he's not a like traditional lockdown position type grappler. He wants to create scrambles. I guess it's a Sunset fight. He was grabbing legs, creating scrambles, moving, rolling, turning, getting in.
Yeah, they're in all sorts of weird positions. Yeah.
Yeah, so that way he could work out where there's no actual like set lot like positions committed to, and he can work free and do all kinds of his fun things. I don't think Sandhagen's a bad grappler, but when Aljo locked you in the back with the body triangle, you're kind of stuck there. You're gonna have to deal with the position itself.
Yeah.
To me, like I say, when I see Sandhagen trying to unhook the body triangle by pulling the heel up and knocking out the cinch leg, he wants to knock that free and then roll through or hit a scramble and turn into him. or stand really hard
Mhm.
instead of like fighting the position itself. To me, I don't think he thinks about like fighting the position.
Mhm.
He's fighting the threats, which I
That's
mean,
fair.
not a bad idea. He's fighting the body triangle because the body triangle is keeping me from moving. I have to move. Let me get rid of this body triangle. Instead of like worried about the position that he's in, which is a very, very, very bad position. So his lack of like not understanding, because he's he's more than fine, but but I think he prioritized the wrong things,
Yeah.
and him prioritizing the wrong things got him choked out really quickly, because again, like when like you can be a scrambly type grappler, that's more than fine. Clearly, it's worked for him. It's worked for him really fine. But when you're fighting a certain type of grappler, when you're fighting people who are capable, and most importantly, when you are in a position of like when you get locked down. So even if Aljamain was a much worse grappler, if he got the body triangle and the back mount on Sandhagen, Sandhagen will still be best served to fight the position itself. Clear the arms, rotate your hips through so that way you can kind of kill the body triangles, leverage and all that, and then work through like a normal escape. But it's just unfortunate that he had to fight a very, very, very good grappler, one of the best grapplers in MMA, who who just denied him all opportunities really to escape. Because Sandhagen didn't really get it. He like I think like him clearing the hands first was good, because clearing the hands obviously that's the choking threat. But he should have been more okay to me with turning into Sterling, giving up probably mount or side control or something like that, and then working from there. Because then he could create scrambles. Then those are less lockdown positions. They're still obviously really good, but he could buck and do more risky stuff with less risk on top of it. But he had his back taken completely, and I kind of was, because he seems like a very confident fighter, which is good. But I'm pretty sure he was thinking, he's got my back. That's cool. I need to get out of here so I can do what I need to do, instead of worrying about the threats that was there. But overall, like I said, I really like the fight. In a way, I wish it could have gone longer, because it's only like a little over a minute, and these guys are too good for me to be only watching a minute of them. They're really nice to watch. But in general, like I say, I'm very happy for Sterling. I can't wait till he gets the next title shot. When he fights the man Jan, I'm just gonna watch it just for beauty. And for Sandhagen, even though like he just took this loss, a very very quick and kind of embarrassing loss.
Yeah.
He's still super young, barely been fighting for any time. He's still a very dangerous fighter for the whole division. When you say that him and Cody would be a good fight, it would be a great fight. I wouldn't mind that fight at all. So this fight, like, I feel like the appropriate person won, if that's how you want to frame
That's
it.
fair.
The appropriate person won.
Yeah, and speak to what you were saying. I was having a conversation with my friend about this, and about just in general the choice of technique preferred by scramble based grapplers as opposed to like stat or stationary sort of control based grapplers, and like those are really like rigid boxes to categorize people and shove them into, because there's obviously lots of in between, and everyone
like
scrambles.
Sterling can scramble, yeah. Sterling can scramble just as fine, yeah, you know what I mean. And I'm pretty sure if you give Corey the back mount, he'll lock it down,
right,
and all
right.
that.
So I'm not trying to exactly. So I'm not trying to shove people into like rigid and set parameterized boxes, but what I'm saying is, it's like, what is their go-to in certain positions you frequently find yourself in, and like, I appreciate the utility of the Kimura trap when someone is in on your legs, especially from like a single leg position or something like that. But like hitting a switch, and I said last week that a good top player, who's experienced in people in that with that maneuver, trying to utilize an advantageous grip on like a floating limb or something like that to manipulate your whole body from bottom, is not going to be confused by those types of things. And I think like for someone who he was defending like the standard way when Jemaine had the high underhook, but what bothers me is like, you need it to me, scrambles are extremely useful when used in their proper context. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have an overhook in someone, like the overhook hip toss, the one that Amanda Nunes caught against Felicia Spencer. That's useful to create a scramble so that you can create space to get away from someone if the other forms of defense aren't working, or to utilize variety. Like, you need to have a solid basis of fundamentals, upon which you can add things like the Kimura trap, and they're not gimmicks, but they're like one note, and they're like a system in and of themselves. They don't have like a place like the Kimura trap in terms of MMA and takedown defense and like standing grappling doesn't have like a it's not a piece that fits into a larger puzzle of congruent techniques, right? It's like a thing you
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like to me, like I'm very happy MMA has evolved from this because I used to watch it. Like I've been watching MMA for over 15 years now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I remember like a lot of times people used to just like as a response to takedowns, just like catch a guillotine.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
that's a great example.
90% of the time you just got taken down off of that and nothing happened. And like that's not catching a guillotine when people shoot on you is not takedown defense. It's it's not gonna be amounting to anything.
No, and it's very hard to, like, unless you have like Davi Ramos level jiu-jitsu, because I think he used a Kimura chop once in MMA in UFC, or like a Marcelo Garcia front choke, like anything from the front, which is extremely hard to develop. And like he did a lot of that stuff, like with a rash guard on in a different context where the wrestlers weren't as good. You know what I mean? Like you should rely first on pummeling for underhooks, on spreading your base against the fence and trying, and then on top of that, like once you know the rules, you can add sort of more. I don't want to say one note, but like not even gimmicky.
Tactics, like different tactics.
Yeah,
like,
tactics, right?
Kimura grip defense, Kimura grips in general are like really good things. They're just like they're good, and Kimura grips are awesome.
Yeah,
but they're not like like using them as takedown defense, right? They're good. Like I forgot there was another fight. A person used a Kimura trap to defend the takedown.
Rose Namajunas
they did it pretty solid.
She got slammed.
No, I'm talking about I'm talking about another fight on the card. Like I forgot who it was, but yeah, like you can use a Kimura defense, to defend takedowns. You can use it for a lot of things. Familiar. But like it's not simply put, it's not sustainable.
Exactly.
It's not sustainable as a one note thing.
Yeah.
Like I mean, as a consistent thing. Like if you're defending every takedown with a sprawl, there's easy workarounds to that. You can't just sprawl on every takedown. They could work around to your back. They can still control your leg and bring you back up. They could. There's a lot of things they can do. The Kimura trap as defense, you can exploit that, especially because like there are ways to work around it pretty much.
Yeah, like I said, it's its isolated system that exists in isolation to the layers of wrestling defense. That you can use them in coordination with each other, but it shouldn't be like the thing you rely on because it's just an isolated circuit, and that's sort of the Corey Sanhagen meta. It's like, it's like the Sakuraba had that response to people locking him off in the back was to grab a Kimura, which is great, but you can it doesn't always work. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So that's just my response to that. Like, if you have a great guillotine, awesome. If you go for it every single time, I'm gonna know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna figure out like when I take you down, I'm gonna like pass the other side immediately. If you can work regular defense with the Kimura, and then with the Kimura trap, and then also with a front choke that's really strong. You know what I mean? And then hit switches and stuff like that. Wall walk. If you have like layers of different defense, and then on top of that you add these gimmicky things, it's really useful because you have multiple angles of attack. And so that's just what I want to say. It's like Corey Sanhagen, I think, needs to work more on that and needs to adopt a wrestling response because it's the most layered way of responding to takedowns. That's actually the sport of wrestling. You know what I'm saying? It's takedowns.
Exactly. Yes.
You concede points. You know what I'm saying? So
yes, exactly.
Whereas the Kimura it's a control position in jiu-jitsu, but it's not. Most of that work is done when you're already grounded. So yeah, that's my response to that. Congrats to Jemaine Sterling, and Corey Sanhagen will keep his head up and he'll do good again. The torch has not been like taken from him or anything like that. It's just not his time yet. And yeah, he said go win the belt. That's what he said to Alja. So good for him. And I'm very pleased Jemaine Sterling. Like I said, he's like might have been the only fighter who said like Black Lives Matter at the post-fight interview and that he stands with them.
Devin Clark, they didn't give him a post-fight interview, but Devin Clark in the prelims took a knee and it was basically Black Lives Matter at the first part.
That's awesome.
I think he was the only guy who didn't get an interview on the whole card. So
I wonder if it's because he knelt. Well, I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, yeah. So now we're gonna talk about O'Malley and Wineland, which was a good fight. Trayvon and I both had sort of the prediction that it would bring out like O'Malley would probably win, probably by stoppage. I think that's what we said, but it would bring out it would show some test to O'Malley that we had not previously seen. And unlike in like a microcosmic way, it kind of did, because he did
Yeah,
catch. Yeah, he caught O'Malley once, right? With like he didn't bite on the jab feint O'Malley performed, and then countered the left straight that followed, and O'Malley like adjusted after that. But you can go ahead and in your introductory analysis to this fight if you'd like.
Yeah, like I was hoping that we would get to see more from O'Malley in this fight, because I I thought this fight was going to bring something out of him. And not, I'm gonna say unfortunately, but unfortunately it didn't, which is good for O'Malley, because now I think O'Malley simply deserves to fight top contenders again.
Yeah.
Like again, I still kind of don't know what he does. Like, well, I know what he does, but I don't know his game. I don't know how he's gonna implement his game against high level guys. So he gets him against high level guys now, so that way he could I can see what he is. Like, he seems to be a really active range kicker. He wants you to kind of close distance, so that way he can step in and counter. He feels really comfortable everywhere, it looks like to me. He's okay with leading when he needs to, especially with punches, with kicks as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's really flashy. He wants to scare you off with feints and flair. But quite simply, again, I want to see what people do to him when he's fighting high level guys, because if even though Eddie Wineland is a tough veteran and a tough guy, I don't think simply put, I don't think his physicality was enough to actually do anything to O'Malley. He's been fighting for a while. He's old. He got knocked off the first punch.
Well, actually, it followed he threw a check right hook, which wobbled him. Remember that?
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, yeah.
And then
but no, but like, I want to see O'Malley fighting better fighters, which is good, because he looks to be a top 10 level guy right now.
Yeah, he's good.
So unfortunately, I don't have much to say about the performance, because it was so quick again, and O'Malley just can style on everybody that he fights at this moment. So I need to see him fight better people.
Well, see, that fight was kind of reminiscent to me of Kyle Bochniak versus Zabit Magomedsharipov in a way, because it's someone whose attacks are really one note. Like, it's very clear that Wineland was going to try and counter with his boxing, with his punches, and that O'Malley was able to tee off with kind of whatever he wanted. I want to see I want to see him fight someone who's going to force him to be more disciplined with the shots the shot selection he can choose from.
Exactly.
Yeah, and who's going to bring out like an actual tenable game plan from him that will carry him to the upper echelons of the division. And that's not a criticism per se. It's just like, okay, so we've established now that he doesn't need to be fighting the lower level of UFC fighter in that division anymore. He's cleaned that selection the offerings is out. So now it's time for him to move up. Like, he's done his work at the shallow end of the division, and it's time to swim into deeper waters. That being said, I would really like to see someone like who's going to harass his legs, like with more leg kicks, who's going to use feints effectively against him to draw out his counters, get him to swing at air, and then counter his counters, who's going to duck under to try and harass him with takedowns, who's going to dive for his leg constantly, who's going to throw takedowns, reactionary takedowns as counters, following a feint. Someone in like the top 10 who's going to just do maybe a couple of those things more.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I don't remember, but I remember him fighting Tyrion Ware a few years ago. Again, it was a few years ago, so that's unfortunate. And Tyrion Ware is a guy who makes things hard for everybody he fights, man. Yeah. I'm really sad he's not in UFC anymore, because he had some tough matchups, man. He had to fight all the good up and comers. And like he made O'Malley work in spaces, that was good to show. Like, but I need to see, but Tyrion Ware was really, really outmatched physically against O'Malley, so he was never going to win that fight. He made it a tough fight. I need to see a Tyrion Ware basically of the top 10.
Yeah.
And bantamweight's full of those guys who are dangerous. So O'Malley needs to step up. And
let's see who's in bantamweight right now in the top 10 too.
Yeah,
or 15 even. We'll see.
No, like, okay, I just quickly looking at the rankings. I see Martin Rivera is at 15, and I think they were supposed to fight him.
They were.
Martin Rivera, yeah, they were supposed to fight. So like, make that happen. Also, it tells you how crazy the division is when Martin Rivera is 15. But
yeah,
that's another point.
There are a lot of good matchups here for him.
Yeah, there's a lot of good matchups for him.
Rob Font, I don't like. Okay, like realistic matchups, I'm not gonna pick from like the guys who are like a fight away from
like put him in there. Pedro Munoz, like, nah,
but like, I can see him getting a
Cody
fight
Stamen
with like
fight.
Yeah, Cody Stamen, he did. I don't know how he would do against Stamen. I would honestly not be. I would be interested in seeing like a Jimmy Rivera, or even a Song
That's what the
Yudong.
highest I'd go.
Yeah,
Jimmy Rivera's the highest I'd
exactly.
go.
That's the highest I go. That's what I'm really trying to test him. If he shines in a Jimmy Rivera fight, then that would be something special.
Like I think Jimmy Rivera might be a little too. That might be a little too much at the moment.
Maybe we'll give him
no,
one.
like I say,
like Rob Font, Marlon Vera, or maybe Song Yudong.
No, those are all really good fights. Or John Dodson even too. John Dodson would be pretty fun.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but Dodson's kind of on the downward spot. I don't know. I'm not really interested in
that is true. Yes,
in seeing him fight guys who had a name and who did significant things, and then who like
yes.
Like we got that like a budget version of that in Wineland. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that.
Yeah. So those are the fights to make from. But just some slick looks from him in this fight. Like I really liked his use of front kicks in this fight. There's one sequence to like the latter half of the fight, like. Which didn't last that long anyway, but he threw like a front kick, I think from, I could be wrong, I know he switched stances, I don't know what he started it, but I think he threw it from orthodox, pushed him back, and then like took like I think he used that front kick as like a switch stance, like a switch step, and then switched into southpaw and took like almost a 45-degree angle to where he was standing, and then threw another front kick with the left leg. So it was just really pretty. It was like front kick, push him back, step into it, angle off at 45 degrees, face him again because now they're square. Right, and then throw another one. I was like, "Oh my god, those are coming so quickly!" And their placement is like money, and like his foot position is money. Like he's doing a really good job there. He's honestly really like impressively talented for someone his age. But those high kicks were working well for everything was working well because the guy's hands were down here. You know what I'm saying? He was like very hunched over, kind of fighting like that. And those high kicks were like they weren't question mark kicks, but the way that they landed reminded me of question mark kicks because like it looked like Wineland was trying to go beneath them, and like the edge of I suddenly can't remember his name.
O'Malley.
Thank you. O'Malley's shin would like clip the head of Wineland. But yeah, after he got like he did this thing where he tried to feint. I think it was southpaw, so he would like jab feint with the right, and then want to lead with the left straight. And I think Wineland didn't bite. They called for something in Wineland's corner, and then he did not bite on the jab feint, and then countered over the top. It was almost like a cross counter, but now with the jab, he kind of like it was just like an intercepting counter with the right hand that landed on O'Malley. And then O'Malley didn't step in as often until he had like countered effectively. He did that thing I told you about with the front kicks just before the finishing sequence or the check hook that initially wobbled him. He threw like a gorgeous spinning back kick to the body. Like it was just so nice. Like it backed him up. It was like a Barboza versus Hooker, right? He tried a lot of like pull back counters from several different angles, and then instead of pulling back and then countering over the top, he pulled back, and this time I don't know what Wineland was doing. He came in, he pulled back and countered with the check right hook. This is my left side, check right hook, which wobbled him, and then from there, that's where I think he feinted the right uppercut or whatever, rear uppercut, feinted the jab, and then threw the straight punch that knocked him straight out. Which was just like it was the original punch that got the original like combination that got him countered, but this time it was money because he'd already hurt him, and yeah, that's probably it. He added like a 1-2 feint instead of just a 1 feint, but regardless, it landed and sent him away. So I thought like the kicking ability of O'Malley, like it was really nice, especially the front kicks, just like the kicks to the body, were super impressive. Him throwing wheel kicks and shit is just him throwing wheel kicks and shit, like it's what it is, you know what I mean? But the feinting was nice. Obviously, it's kind of like he's like a little bit like an early McGregor, like wants to do that stuff.
Dude, yes, I was gonna bring that up actually. He feels a lot like an early McGregor, just like super offensive everywhere, able to fight everywhere, comfortable everywhere, extremely confident everywhere.
Great kicking, but like his money maker is like pullback counter.
Yes, his hands. Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Yes, I was just about to say that. He feels like an early McGregor, like crazy, man. Mm-hmm. So, and dominating people just really quickly. So we need to get him in there against the high level people.
Yeah, I don't want them to give him the McGregor treatment. I want to see him in fights with guys who will actually test him. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, but it was great. I was impressed with those looks from O'Malley, the countering, the feinting, and the kicking. Yeah, he's fast too, and they gave him a Wineland. So, but yeah, I'm excited to see what's to come from him. Now we're on to the most controversial fighter in the UFC right now, and I don't mean because of anything he's done, but I mean simply because he's in the UFC, period. My doppelganger, the man, Chase Hooper versus
his prototype. Chase Hooper is Wait, no, yeah, it is his prototype, Caceres. But no, yeah, like the fight was kind of like how I expected it. It wasn't as hilarious, but it was still pretty funny. I was enjoying it, watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, like again, we're not gonna get into anything like deep about this. We're just talking
No.
about big broad strokes on this fight. Like it looked like to me a lot like Alex Caceres was his still weird normal self. There were a few times, not a few, a lot of times where he would like throw punches unnecessarily wide and give up his back in a clinch.
Super loopy,
and,
yeah.
And like I'm like, dude, like if you're fighting somebody better, they're gonna take your back and chunk you out. Like that's happened like 50 times already in their career, man.
Yeah, yeah.
But Chase Hooper right now just shouldn't be in the UFC. And that's not even a slight on him. It's not even he's only 20 years old. Like every 20-year-old fighter is a regional fighter. Like he like if he stays in the UFC, which is a good chance he is, and gets like some wins and some losses, he's gonna be like basically shot at like 25 years old. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna be fighting like tough guys at 45 and 55, taking unnecessary damage because right now he can't protect himself.
No,
so he can be taking unnecessary.
He's
damage.
relying on just taking the shots and coming in.
Exactly, and dude, when he's like 30, man, he's gonna be like his career's gonna be like done if he just keeps on fighting these guys. Like Chase Hooper seems reasonably talented, and talented enough as a grappler to like, he could probably be something reasonable. But like right now, he's probably gonna get all the goodness beat out of him. Like he's gonna end up like Sage. Like Sage, if Sage was allowed to grow, because dude, Sage is only 24.
Yeah, he was 19 when he got signed.
Yeah, like Sage feels like he's been here for an eternity. He feels like he's done already. Because I think he kind of is. Because like Sage is out here fighting guys. Even then, they kind of gave him layups, but he would be fighting guys that he wasn't ready for. Because he's simply Sage was simply a regional level fighter. Like
he was 19 when he got signed. 19.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So like he would like he's taking unnecessary damage. Like even Sage, his losses weren't even that brutal, except for the Cosmo Alexander fight. That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But like Chase Hooper's gonna be taking big shots from these guys for no reason. When like he should just be on the regional level so he can develop and get better.
Agreed. And it's like you said, all the goodness, like all the potential's been better. But he looks like someone who has like he's not like a mega talent, but he's like one of those guys in the gym who's like young and they're good. Like exactly, that guy's good. Exactly, that guy's gonna be something. He's like there's prodigies and then there's like talented guys who have like a baseline athleticism and a knack for certain things. And that's him. He's not
exactly.
Yes. And like four more years, maybe less, 3.5, 4 more years, whatever, something like that of regional experience, lower level experience, and like training with higher level guys, working on a striking, like dude, just like developing a system of that he can implement in a fight, like a game plan, a style for himself that doesn't involve just like sticking his head in the air and taking punches and hoping he doesn't get knocked out, to shoot for sloppy takedowns or grab you and jump on your back. Like developing like a system. Like there are guys like who only have a few things that work in every like department of fighting, but they use them at the right time, which is kind of what we're gonna get to, like with Devin Clark versus Alonzo Mendenfield. Like Frankie Edgar, like he's like good at some things everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like there are guys who like can utilize what they have systematically to maximize their odds of winning a fight. Like he needs to develop, like every fighter has that, like develop like a meta for himself that is smarter and that is like more varied in terms of what techniques and it utilizes and needs to go. But like I was like super outraged when they first signed him because like it was a Hawaiian guy. When I rewatched it, like just the first half of it, I was watching the fight on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. Like it's almost unethical to sign him. Like if you watch like before the guy got tired from beating the shit out of him, like he was getting clobbered. That guy looked so talented compared to him. He was beating the fuck out of him. And like the guy just got tired hitting him because he wouldn't go away. Like you're so young to be taking that kind of damage to your body and mind. Like your brain, especially as a male at age 20, he was younger. He was 18 at the time. He's leaving high school. Like your brain is not done developing, right? Especially the frontal parts of your brain, which is, I don't want to get all nerdy, but it's in charge of. It's like the driver of the bus, the executive function. That's like the decision making, the higher level cognition. That's still developing in men. You know what I mean? And to be taking like shots to the head that are that hard, that consistently, for what? At that age, like it's so bad. And like I was mad when he got signed. I was like, this is a scathing indictment on like, just not even indictment. It's like a scathing insult to all the high level fighters in this organization and those high level fighters who aren't in the UFC, who just for some reason haven't been able to get in. Because like this guy's like, I guess I thought he was charismatic and exciting. It's like you're playing with some idiot, like some kid's life You know what I'm saying? Because that kid got so beat up, and then Tamer landed hard shots, but Tamer's dumb, so he got his back taken and choked out. You know what I mean? But like Caceres is by no means like a high level fighter. Like even though he looked good, it looked like someone like hitting a punching bag with punches that were hard, but that were not thrown properly. Like he was throwing weird loopy punches, bouncing around unnecessarily. You know what I'm saying? And
because Caceres isn't like a guy you should be getting just washed by, like almost no matter who you are. Like Caceres to me, Caceres again is like the guy you're talking about with like a good baseline level of talent. Caceres, like to me, understands fighting reasonably well. He seems pretty talented, but like Caceres is not a guy that you're fighting and you're like, whoo, this guy's out here dominating somebody. He's out there throwing that heat. He's out there like Caceres to me is like he's not like a baseline level UFC talent. He's like a mid level, but like he should be to the point where like you can compete with him. If you're a UFC level talented guy, no matter what, you can compete with Caceres. Chase Hooper didn't compete with him. He didn't do anything at all. He didn't get anything going. Like
in 2020, no one should be washed by Caceres.
Yeah, exactly. And like Chase Hooper, like he just shouldn't be in the UFC. Like hopefully, like if he's gonna stay in the UFC. They just bring random regional fighters for him to fight in the, like his fights need to be regional fights, but with UFC marketing, like because again, like he needs to be able to develop. Because if they give him like more reasonable 45ers, that's not gonna help him. Like he's just gonna get beat up some more and not get any better.
Yeah, and
like take losses and break his confidence for no reason.
Agreed, and it sucks. I don't want to see that. Like I know people who are better. Like you are better than him. You know what I'm saying? I know people who are better than him, and who are still fighting rightfully so are fighting regionally because there's still more growth, so more experience to be gained. Like even if you can do really well in the gym, like you still need that experience under the bright lights and things like that. And it's kind of sad. And I addressed, so I was incorrect on my prediction for this fight. My mini prediction was that Caceres was going to do something to cause us the fight, and he damn near did at one point, right? Like
he did a few times, man.
Yeah. But it Hooper was not good enough to capitalize on it. And my actual prediction was that Hooper was actually going to take a beating, coming in, jump on his back, piggyback him into a RNC like Lyman Good versus Damian Maia.
He almost did that a few times.
Yeah, but what I discovered about those two fighters from this fight was that one, Caceres is not as bad as I thought, but he's not good. He's like baseline level of bad to be in the UFC, right? Like there's a bad UFC caliber, like there's UFC caliber bad, right? And then there's like good for a regional fighter, but in the UFC just shouldn't be there. Like Hooper is worse than I thought. You know what I'm saying? Like people have, I got in so many arguments with people before this fight online because I waste my time like that. And they're like, yeah, but Hooper's like an extremely talented grappler. And I was like, no, like there are regional fighters I'm friends with who are better. And they're like, you're just some kid on the internet. Like you don't know anyone better than a UFC professional elite athlete. Dude, I'm like, just watch the fight. I'm not making things up. Watch it. You can analyze it yourself. Like it's like
yes, and like when I I'm sorry, but when I say not all champions are created equal, not all UFC fighters are created equal. Some guys are actual UFC fighters. Some guys will be in the UFC for like a year or 2 or 3 years, and they shouldn't be there. Just because they got signed doesn't mean they're like elite. And just because guys haven't been signed doesn't mean they're not good.
Exactly.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And so you're good, man. And so that's what I was saying. It's like, you know, I've been saying it for a while, and people are really mad at me. Now all of a sudden, people are jumping on this bandwagon. You know what I'm saying? Because Joe Rogan said it in the broadcast booth, and that makes, you know what I'm saying. But I was like, I've been saying it for a while. Like, it's not hard. It's not hard to see. And like I don't know. I it's just like even people who were on the pulse somewhat. With like they had the finger on the pulse somewhat in saying that his strength is grappling, overestimate the degree to which he's talented, right? Like someone who got away with basically being a better version of Chase Hooper, but without any extra skills, was Kron Gracie, who submitted Alex Caceres in round 1, just grabbed him and walked through things and choked him out. But Kron Gracie is the 2013 ADCC world champion. You know what I'm saying? Like he's an elite grappler. Elite. He's like one of the best grapplers. Like if there's like I don't know about 2020 elite grappling, especially since he's been doing MMA for a while, hasn't like just done straight submission grappling in a while. But like if there's a top 100 in the world of known grapplers, he's definitely in it. Probably top 50. You know what I'm saying? He submitted Gary Tonin. He submitted everybody at 2013 ADCC, Otavio Souza. I mean, he's good. And so he got away with it. And then when you look at even an old Cub Swanson who gassed after round 1 and turned into a dogfight, he still like had so many vulnerabilities. Because like that is like the lower limit for what a one-dimensional bad fighter needs to be in the UFC. Like Chase Hooper,
exactly. The lower limit.
Yeah. Chase Hooper needs to go. And that's just my opinion. And it's not a slight on him. Like I said, he's got the base talent, and like given like the time to develop, he will come back and be good. But I don't want him to be a Sage Northcutt who just like had some potential, got fucked up, even though they tried to feed him people. Then went over to one, and that guy just broke him. I think he broke his jaw and like a bunch of
literally,
his face.
literally.
Yeah. So that was sad.
Literally broke him.
Yeah.
Literally broke him.
That's that, man. That's what come on Chase Hooper. I think it's like you get into like an ethical conversation, but like, does this guy belong in the UFC? Is it even fair or right towards him? Because he's not gonna say no. That's money and exposure. That's clout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes,
So like,
exactly.
What do you like? Why are you bringing him in? Is it safe as a promoter? You know. But yeah. So now we can move on to undercard stuff.
Yeah, just like a little random thoughts here and there.
So what you wanted to? I don't have much to say about it, and then like low side kicks were like. Oh, excuse me. Low leg kicks are a big feature.
No, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna speak about the Formiga and Perez fight just real quick. Firstly, like, happy that Perez is doing good. I like Perez; he's a good fighter. Sad that Formiga's doing bad. Formiga's good. Another guy who I don't think it was ever championship worthy, but if you look at it in certain ways, right? Let's say if Formiga would have got his title shot, right, and then not Formiga, Formiga got his title shot against Figueiredo,
and Figueiredo had made weight.
Figueiredo.
Yeah,
he beat Figueiredo. Formiga in a weird universe would have been champion, and people would have looked at Formiga so much differently. You know what I mean? They would have looked at Formiga so much differently. So like again, championship level fighters are that's a wishy-washy term. It's not just set in stone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Formiga's done. Like, cause he got like. The leg kick TKOs are like always really brutal and like really sad to see. But like Formiga he looked like he just couldn't take any damage over the course of the fight, man. He just looked really like old, if I had to use a word. He looked bad. He didn't look bad. He just looked like he can't compete against athletic 25ers anymore.
I agree.
Because like, Figueiredo's about the most athletic guy in the damn UFC. And he was able to work with him well, to do smart things and all that. But against Perez, he just kind of got just outgunned, like really hard. And speaking of the low leg kicks, okay, so like I don't want to be that guy, but like low leg kicks aren't just like this magical unstoppable move.
There's no such thing. Yeah.
Like so like
that would be a gun.
People going around like this. This is the even guns. You can beat them too. So like you got a bigger gun, but like. These kicks are like inherently really dangerous to throw. So like you're assuming that the person is not going to check the kick. So like you're assuming they're going to try to walk out of, like they're going to try to backstep out of range, giving you room to land the kick like at the calf. And even if you miss, you'll like slap the calf. Like if they check it, you're kicking directly into the shin, like directly into the shin. And like again, like and Daniel Cormier said this, and it actually made me really proud of him. He said they're gonna keep on throwing these leg kicks until somebody gets there like Anderson Silva, which is true. Like since MMA fighters don't know how to check kicks or don't do it consistently, they'll just keep on eating these low leg kicks when they punch and then try to skirt out of range. And when they skirt out of range, they get caught with a low leg kick and it hurt. Low leg kicks hurt like hell. When they get they're gonna skirt out of range and get kicked there until somebody is comfortable enough and knows how to work good enough to sit there and check it. This is going to continue to happen. Like low leg kicks are a thing that you see like, I don't want to use a word, but they're kind of gimmicky. I'm not trying to be that. They're kind of gimmicky.
It's like the low line side kick, right? Like it's
yes, exactly, yes, exactly. Not trying to hate on the move for anything. It's not not trying to hate on the move, but again, you're kicking directly into a check if you're fighting somebody that's reasonable. Like I don't want to be that guy again. There's a reason you don't see that in high-level striking arts. You don't see that in kickboxing or see that in Muay Thai much. Because these guys check kicks consistently, and you just bringing your shin to their shin all the time it's just not good for you. You know what I mean? It's not good for you at all.
Well, you even see Ferguson loves that. He'll only kick your shin with his shin. And Gaethje took them all. He checked most of them. And he blocked them.
Yeah, checked most of them. Exactly.
And Ferguson, it hurt Ferguson. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, shin was bleeding. His shin was bleeding. Like, I know this is really, 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 like, really reductive. It's really reductive. But quite simply, if you want to see like what is applicable and what is not applicable in striking arts, watch high level Muay Thai and watch high level kickboxing. Especially watch high level Muay Thai, because to me it's much more well rounded than high level kickboxing. Like if you can see Muay Thai guys do things or don't do things, it's probably not applicable at a high level. You know what I mean? In terms of like I say the low line, the calf kicks. They don't kick the calves because these guys are going to check it every single time, and like you just can't be taking checks all the time. They have to set up their kicks a lot more diligently. They have to work the legs high in the body, and even that's hard. That's hard because these guys are good at blocking kicks. That's their whole life, damn near. Yeah. Stopping people from kicking them. So like, and again, like this to me, low leg kicks is just an exploitation of guys in the lower skill level in MMA. Like, and that's not bad. Exploit that. Like, if you can exploit that, exploit that. Like, no, I'm not mad at nobody for throwing low leg kicks, but I just don't want people thinking that these are the next big thing. Not the next big thing, but I don't want people thinking these are like a god tier technique that hasn't been discovered yet.
Of course, I will, and I agree with everything you said. You know, it's annoying because Joe Rogan is kind of a bandwagon sensationalist.
Yes, oh man. Unfortunately, yeah, he is.
So he'd be like,
and like,
it's crazy that this technique has just come out of nowhere and taken over every
you know what?
division.
Yes, we're gonna get unfortunately, this might be the first of our Joe Rogan sections. Like Joe Rogan, yes, he can overhype things to the fullest. He doesn't really get nuance a lot of the time. I don't want to talk bad about Joe because I've been watching Joe for the longest, and I like him just as a commentator, like not as a person. I like him just as I like his presence. I'm just used to his presence. Yeah, and his presence like calms me. But like he can do a lot of bad things, like a lot of bad things, and like his nuance, his understanding of nuance in the game is really lacking. Yeah. Yes, and like when you're saying like, my goodness, man, these low leg kicks, they just came onto the scene, and he didn't say that, I'm exaggerating, but like impossible to defend. How come nobody's been doing this yet? It's like because there's a reason why, Joe, because they're throwing directly into the shin if a person knows how to check the kick.
No, and I agree with you. Like a guy like Israel Adesanya, even you can see some. I don't remember as well. He does this where he'll wait for you to do that, and he'll pull his leg back and then come up with a lead leg front kick.
I absolutely love when he does. That's so beautiful. But like, yes, like First of all, too, like the ranges of like you get it's easier to me to defend too in terms of like just pure evasion, because at least with the lower leg you can move that a lot more. Like it's a lot easier to move than the upper than the upper leg. You know what I mean? So like the low leg kick, like I said, it's a skill set that's used to exploit lower level skill sets. And again, like I say, if you can do that, do that. Like I'm not mad. Like if people can't defend basic double leg, spam that. You know what I mean?
Nunes versus Durandamy.
No, yeah, you know what I mean? If people can't defend like a weird technique, if people just like suck at calf slicer defense, do calf slicer every single time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's more than fine. Like, but understand that, like, if there's somebody that's reasonably skilled, you're not going to be in calf slicers on them. It's just so hard to get to, so hard to set up. You know what I mean? Yeah. But, like do what you do to, do what's going to make you win, basically.
I agree.
It's really simple.
Just I want a brief comment, because you did acknowledge it was a bit reductionist, but the only thing I will say, and I'll tie this into one of the fights that happened on this card, Ian Heinisch versus Gerald Meerschaert. One thing I will say is there are aspects of MMA which change striking in MMA, or which differentiate striking in MMA from Muay Thai, even with the clinch and stuff like that. Exactly, in a way that like and it's really just the wrestling. Like for example, Ian Heinisch, like you say, he came out throwing the low line leg kick and the inside leg kick and just spamming kicks to the legs, and it all worked. Like Meerschaert was like, his legs were like flying into other dimensions every time one landed. But the money punch for Heinisch was it was Khabib McGregor, it was Randleman Crow Cop, it was duck down, like the classic wrestling thing. It was this, so it looks like a level change. It's coming in overhand right. Like you really won't like that punch that down McGregor in the Khabib fight. I don't think you'll see a boxer throw that, or a Muay Thai. Like what, you know what I'm saying? Because you're not, when you duck down, like you're gonna change levels, especially if you're a wrestler. No one does that in those sports. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not a part of the sport. You have to worry, bring your arms up to get rid of the sprawl, to take underhooks. So that is one of the areas in which you can see through it. Like you said, it's very reductionist, but I see what you're saying, right? Like, for example, running forward and throwing shifting punches, like how, like like how they used to do back when Houston Alexander was in the UFC. Like, where did you see that in boxing? You did it. Even those black and white tapes, like Willie Pep had some awesome footwork. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't see that, So I see what you're saying, but just to so we don't upset anyone who is like, well, here's the thing where it's different. But yeah, I guess to briefly mention, Ian Heinisch, great job. I really love that. I love when you can confuse a guy with like the GSP Classic, like when your striking setup and your takedown setup look so similar that you can switch between them and confuse opponents. It functions as its own feint, and I love it. So that was great. It was cool to see him actually win like that. Sad for Mearshart because he's cool and he's a fellow musician, but I think the last one was Burns versus Dunham. Good fight. Herbert Burns. The only thing
jiu-jitsu.
It was really nice jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Really impressive. He got him to the ground and like he was trying to use like the right or left arm. Yeah, he was trying to use the right arm because that's where he had the body lock. He was like on the wrong body lock side. He was trying to use the right arm to get the submission and he couldn't. So he like switched over here, rolled over onto his stomach, and in the transition and getting to his back, switched arms and got the arm behind the head. It was super sneaky. Obviously, he's a really good jiu-jitsu player. But, like on the feet, he's like Ben Askren-esque, right? Like it's quick. Like everyone knows apparently that Evan Dunham has a problem being shot, like hit in the body. So he opened up. Like his first strike was a body, and they were in an open stance to each other because Dunham was southpaw and he was orthodox. So he opens up with a right body kick to Dunham's body, but just before that, like Dunham threw like a 1-2 that just caught him like with his head up, and then like he fought really weird. Like he has a really bad like stance. Like he gets really out of base and stuff. Like when he threw like he kept trying to throw right front kicks and like, it got caught and he got punched and he just like fell over. And then so that seemed to be like in his thing is to like pick up the rear leg and throw front kicks and then to like do this weird thing. Like, even his 1-2s are bad. Like when he throws the one, like his front leg comes up and like he slides on his heel and he's kind of out of position. And then the thing that he does that's really like Ben Askren is like he threw like a right hook or right straight and then like shifted really wide into southpaw with that arm out still, and then just like walk toward like a mummy, like Frankenstein into it like a clinch, and it didn't work, and like he just got pushed away and hit, and he did that twice, and the second time it worked, but it like looked really slow. Like when Ben Askren can't just grab a hold of you, he kind of just walks towards you with his arms forward. This looked very much like that, and there's some cool looks like Dunham fainted once. He brought the rear leg front kick out of Herbert and then threw the 1-2 as he was on one leg. But like even when he got to Dunham's back, he did like the leg trip, where you bring the outside leg over one leg and under the other. The same one that Ben Askren does. So I was like, he's kind of just like Ben Askren on the feet right now, in a way, with I mean, he's a better striker, but in a way. And yeah, there's, I don't know. And like one thing you develop when you grapple a lot, like when you just spend a lot of time grappling, is like an unconscious or an instinctual awareness of body position, right? That aids in proper decision making without actual high level thinking. So when Dunham landed, he landed in a position where the right hook was in on Dunham, but the left hook was not yet, and Dunham was posted on Herbert's left knee. You can like, I was like, why don't you post on that knee and sit out over the leg and then put your butt on the outside? You know what I'm saying? Like immediately as you fall, hoist yourself up and push yourself over the left thigh of Herbert Burns. He kind of looked like he had that and just couldn't get to it in time, and so Herbert took his back. So yeah, those are just my thoughts. I think like maybe he's old and weathered. I mean, he looked like
he was supposed to be retired for a little bit. Yeah, he retired for like 2 years.
2 years. He was the better striker, but yeah, Herbert will eventually. Hopefully, he may not, but he's got growing to do on the feet, and then the wrestling. Yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yes.
Anything?
Well, no, yeah, like I said, that's about it for that fight and the card in general. So again, for next week, maybe even this week, we'll have to see. Send us questions. We'll probably have a topic to discuss in general. We'll find out something thematic. But send us questions because we're not gonna. We're again our Calvillo and I analysis will be either really short and funny or yes. So
The account videos the main event. Jesus Christ.
So yeah, because that card itself is just not good. So send us questions, send us anything. We'll have a theme to discuss in general. Other than that, that has been the. No, go ahead.
Our email is postfightpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
Just you guys remember, it'll be in the description. So, yeah.
Remember, we're linking all our social medias in the description, so follow them, like them, comment, whatever. That's the episode for today, you guys. We love you.
Love you too, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.